This is the Creative Market Free Goods Roundup for the week of November 17th, 2014. There are 6 different free goods this week, but they are free this week only. So if when you're watching this video, any of these items look like something you might want to use, just check out the description of this video where I'll place links to each one of these 6 different free items. So I'm going to start at the top here with Portfolio One-Page Design. The file types included are JPEG as well as Photoshop, so I have it open in Photoshop here to show it, and you will get more use out of the actual Photoshop file as all the different elements are in their own folders, and inside those folders there are all the individual elements, as well as all the type on this actual set is fully live and easy to edit, so that's always a nice plus. But one thing to keep in mind with this, you will need to have at least some coding knowledge to convert this from a Photoshop file into a working web page. So if you're looking for a really easy way to get something up online live, a WordPress theme might be better for you. But if you're looking for layout ideas, or you do have the skills to convert this into a working HTML file, this is actually a really nice layout. I do think that this is probably my favorite item of the week because the layout is so strong. It's just very much so to the point. The breaks, how the different sections are separated by pictures work really well, and the overall type choices seem to fit together really nicely. So I'm going to zoom back out and go up to the top here so you can see there's a nice little intro page, and this is designed to work as a one-page parallax scrolling website. So I would assume when you hit articles, for example, it would automatically just shoot you down to the articles portion of this page, but then you can continue scrolling up or down depending on what you want to do. And as always with these Photoshop files, I recommend that you go inside the layers and check out how these things were made. So let's say the services page right here, that's actually under the folder content. If I open that up, you can see that there's different elements inside there. You can see how these particular elements were made, the effects and the strokes that were applied to them. And then under the folders 3, 2, and 1, there are different icons. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here so we can take a look at these icons. You could actually pull and use just these icons if you wanted to. So that's pretty cool that you're able to do that. But if you're into web design, I do recommend that you check this out. Just for layout ideas alone, it's really strong. I think the overall layout is simple to the point, and that's what, in my opinion, a good website should be. So this is a big recommendation for me, not only for the actual website shown here, but for the ideas in layout, as well as all the different elements found under layers that you can go ahead and use and see how they were made. Next up is vintage-inspired font, Netwit. I have this font open in Adobe Illustrator since that's a really easy way to show it, and this font is very straightforward. If I highlight over it and then go to type and then glyphs to show the included characters, it's just the basic letters of the alphabet, so there aren't any special characters like exclamation points or ampersands included in this particular set. And also something worth noting, if you see me type right here, when I type in capital letters, you can tell that the actual font works properly. If I use a lowercase letter, it breaks the font and goes to my default font, which is Myriad Pro. So you do have to type in all caps when you're using this font. If you don't type in caps, it won't work properly, so be sure to do that. But here are what the letters look like up close. It has a handmade feel with nice and bold letters, so this would work really nice as a display font or a heading, something where you really want to grab some attention with whatever it is that you are doing. And I went ahead and just typed this up so you can see how the kerning of the individual letters is. I would recommend going in and cleaning some stuff up if you actually use this in a headline, because there are a little bit of inconsistencies in there, but it's not a huge deal like this R to the E. I would just shorten this tracking down a little bit to make it flow a little bit nicer, but since this font does have such a handmade rough feel, I think it's fine if these things aren't matching perfectly. It really shouldn't have much of a negative effect on whatever it is you are doing. But that's all there really is to it with this font. Do remember to type in all caps when you are working to make sure that the actual font renders properly, and also do remember to keep in mind that there aren't any special characters, so any kind of punctuation or other accent marks aren't included. But if you have a project in mind where you think this font might come in handy, pick it up while you can for free and make some stuff. Next up we have Hipster Seamless Pattern. This file includes 2 different seamless repeating patterns, and they include 2 different formats, EPS as well as JPEG. So I have this open in Adobe Illustrator here since that's a really easy way to show it. So the 2 different files are the same artwork, this one that is colored and then this one that is a black and gray. So I'm going to go back to the first one here so we can take a look at it. It's a bunch of different icons, all that go along with the typical hipster design theme. So there's arrows, a boat wheel, a mustache, sunglasses. You get the idea, all the popular design elements of the more hipster themed designs out there. And I did go ahead and actually repeat this larger so that you can see that the seamless repeat works really well. This does a great job of actually repeating nicely. Everything appears to line up perfectly. And as another thing you can do with this pack, if you actually click on it and then ungroup it, and then you click on it again and release clipping mask, you can then go ahead and use these individual elements if you go ahead and ungroup those. So let's say you want to use just these arrows or just these antlers, you can go ahead and do that, move the mustache around. That's a really nice way to get some additional use out of this pack. If any of these elements look like something you might want to use, like let's say you're doing a car theme design, these pistons might come in pretty handy. And then like I said before, this other one is the same as this one, except that it's in a black and then gray theme. So I can see a lot of different possible uses for this set, either for just the icons included, or you can use the actual seamless repeats, which would make for a really interesting back of a card or stationery, even a business card. Anything along those lines is really up to you how you want to use this. But if you do think you'll have use for this, I recommend you pick it up while it's still free. And these bottom 3 goods are free on Facebook. To get them, just hit this free on Facebook button, like Creative Market, and then the download link will appear. It's super fast and easy to do. So first up we have Vintage Camera with Lens. This pack contains a single JPEG photo, and if I go to image and then image size, you can tell it's a really large photo, roughly 4200 by 2400 pixels, so it should be big enough for most web or print applications. And if I zoom in a little bit closer, you can tell this photo is actually very high quality. So here I am at 100%. It looks nice and crisp, and the actual subject matter looks really cool as well. It's a nice vintage Canon camera with some lenses on the side here. But there isn't really a whole lot for me to cover with this photo. By looking at it, you can probably tell if you think you'll have use for it or not. And if you do think you'll have use for it, I suggest you pick it up this week while it's still free. Next up we have hand-drawn banner and ribbon illustrations. The included file format is EPS, so I have it open in Adobe Illustrator here to show it, although it should work in any vector program like CorelDRAW or other similar programs. And as you can see, the elements are included in both white as well as black variations, so that's always nice. There's a little bit of versatility there, depending on how you want to use these. And I actually really like how these look. They have a very nice vintagey etched look to them, something you would have seen in the 17 or 1800s even. And I think the overall execution of these is very well done as well. If I zoom in a little bit closer, you can tell that the line work looks pretty good up close. It gives that really sketchy, rough feeling that you would get from an etched document while being in vector format, which is always really nice that you can scale these as big or as small as you want without losing any sort of quality. And actually I think these particular elements right here are my favorites of the bunch because they have a whole lot of detail in them, and they did a really nice job conveying movement throughout all these. All the twists and turns make a lot of sense visually, and it makes these pretty exciting elements in comparison to some other banners out there that are a lot more simplistic. Not that that's a bad thing, but these definitely stand apart as a very interesting and unique set. So this is a cool pack, and if you think you'll have use for it, pick it up and check it out. And last we have clothing brand t-shirt mockups. I have Adobe Photoshop open here to show these since they are all in Photoshop format. I don't think they'll be Photoshop Elements friendly as they do use folders, but if you do have Elements, you can go ahead and test it out and let me know if it works. But there are 4 different t-shirt mockups included. So there's this one on white on the ground, there's this one on white on the brick wall, there's a black one with the tag, and then there's a black one on the wall. And it's worth noting on these that they are t-shirts on a background, so this whole background image is one flat image. So to remove the background, you'd have to manually go in there and trace that out. And also something else to think about on these, like this white shirt right here, the actual shirt color is locked in. There aren't different shirt color overlays for you to easily apply onto it. If you want a relatively easy way to go in and add a color to these t-shirts, at least on the white ones, the black ones it'll be very hard, but on the white ones, double click on the background layer to unlock it, and then change the blending mode from normal to multiply on the drop down menu here, and then just make a new layer and drop it below the t-shirt like you see right here. And if you were to use a color on this new layer behind the multiplied t-shirt layer and just color it in, I'm going to make this 100% hardness so it's not fuzzy. But if I do this very quickly here, you can tell it does a pretty nice job of actually maintaining the shadows of the t-shirt while adding the color. This is very quick, so obviously I'm not going to spend the time to go in there and carefully trace this color in there, but that is an option if you want to do that. And they also have smart objects to replace the actual designs that are inside these t-shirts, which is really cool. And that's particularly cool in this one where the design has a skewed look to it. So I'm going to jump into the smart folder, which is how you change the actual design, and I have it open already right here. So this right here is just a stock image to let you know where to drop the design. I went ahead and put one of my own t-shirt designs inside this folder, just like you see right here. I'm going to move it up slightly. Then all you have to do to make it update on the actual shirt page is save the smart object, close it, and then when you go back, it updates automatically, and you can tell this looks really great. It did a really nice job of making it look like it's actually laying flat on the t-shirt, so that's really cool, and it's a really fast and easy way to make pretty nice looking t-shirt mockups. And also I forgot to mention the overall size of these. If I go to image and then image size, this particular image is roughly 4000 by 2500 pixels, so that's really nice and big. So if you want to show these on web or print, it should be big enough to do both of those. But it's a very cool pack, and do remember, like I showed before, you can change these images to multiply and then draw your own color for the t-shirt behind the white t-shirts as one method for adding different colors to the white t-shirts, because once you do that, if I go to hue saturation here, you can see how it works when I change the actual color of these t-shirts. It's pretty easy to do. I'd suggest going in with a pen tool and making a nice little mask for this, and then you could very quickly change the colors in the future if you save the Photoshop file with that mask applied. But this is a very cool pack. The images are nice and high quality, and if you think you'll have use for it, pick it up while it's free. So that's it for this week's free goods, and remember they are free this week only, so if any of them look like something you might have use for, be sure to check out the description where I'll place links to each one of them. And as always, if you found this video helpful, please like and favorite, and if you want to see this video every week, please subscribe. This video is released every Monday to let you know what's free this week on Creative Market. Thanks for watching.